Hi, my name is Rose Wong. I am a serial entrepreneur, angel investor, and the executive advisor at Aim High Accelerator Fund, where we accelerate the translation of cancer drug discoveries. Today, I am the host of a new YouTube series called Charting the Course: Interviews with Women Mentors. There are many paths today for women entrepreneurs to become highly successful in healthcare and life sciences industry. At Aim High, we aim to build a robust pipeline and community for women entrepreneurs. We're curating this pipeline. We invest funds to accelerate their ventures, and we elevate those who are beacons of industry. We have selected 8 outstanding women mentors in health and life sciences industry. I have interviewed all of them, and they have inspiring stories of how they have become successful entrepreneurs, successful surgeons, successful researchers, and drug developers. And they have also been helping Aim High creating this ecosystem for women entrepreneurs to become successful. Today, I welcome Patty Obermaier, Vice President for US Health and Life Sciences at Microsoft.
I'm so excited to be part of the inaugural launch. A little bit about my background. I have been a scientist, an entrepreneur, a business leader, a mom, a Girl Scout troop leader, all kinds of fun stuff. And today what I do is I lead the health and life sciences team here at Microsoft. Have spent probably 25 years in the health industry, so it's a wonderful industry I've committed a lot of time to, but my path to Microsoft hasn't always been directly via large companies. As you know, Rose, when you and I met, I had started another business that I ended up selling. Right before Microsoft, I started yet another business. So started as a scientist, always found science, especially biology, really fascinating. And what I enjoyed were a couple of things, the curiosity of the field. And second, not always knowing what you were kind of going to find out, right? You had an hypothesis, you tested it, but you weren't always sure you were going to be right. In some cases, you learn different things than you expected. It's kind of like starting a business in some ways, Rose, which I know is part of your background as well. You start with an idea, you launch something, and then you just gotta be quick and agile and be able to be resilient where you need to and change your path. And so that's kind of how I ended up in business. Candidly, I was doing work as a scientist and then sort of realized, I was kind of intrigued by the business world, but I had no business background. So I had to start to take business classes and went off to graduate school and got my MBA, and then said, okay, how do I combine my love of the science and the field of biology along with business? And that's when I started doing a lot of work in the healthcare industry. And as a scientist, you're taught really how to critically think, which has been very helpful for me as I've launched my corporate career. And so I started going into business, and then the question became, how did I start my own business? I saw a wonderful opportunity at the time. It was a business that focused on customer relationship management. Before that was kind of a common term, CRM, that's out there today. Saw how well it was being used, the philosophy of CRM within the pharmaceutical industry, as a matter of fact, and targeting their high prescribing physicians or their high value physicians. And I said, you know what, the rest of the business world could use this. And so that's when I launched my first business, was focused on CRM consulting. And then obviously had the opportunity to sell that business and move on and do some other things. I think a lot of it was, I just started asking the question, who else does this or who else needs this? I mean, one of the nice things about being an entrepreneur, one of the things I really love when I study what businesses that people have started and been successful at is that the problem that they're trying to solve is really clear.
Hmm.
So what I saw in the pharmaceutical industry around CRM was the ability to be really clear on which of their customers were the most valuable. And in this case, it was doctors who prescribe the drugs. And I said, every industry should be thinking about this. And I just started looking at the telecom industry. I looked at the insurance industry. I looked at these very large corporations and just started digging in and saying, do they have people focused on CRM? And be willing to say to folks, just because it's different doesn't mean it's wrong, because that's one of the things about entrepreneurs. They see the world a little bit differently. Folks look at an opportunity or see a challenge and say, I can solve it. And there are a lot of folks that will say, well, why can't we just do it the way we're done? Well, sometimes you got to do things differently. And that's another key thing for entrepreneurs. They think differently. They see the world slightly different, and they act on that. And they don't become discouraged, because it's really easy for people to say, no, 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 no. It's like, no, you got to say, yeah, 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 I can do this.
I totally agree with you, Patty. Dare to think differently, take actions, and pick up where you fall, and don't get totally discouraged and overcome objections. These are really, really good qualities of entrepreneur.
I mean, what I know, it's a lot of things. If you're going to start a business, come to really do some soul searching. And by that, I mean, Rose and you were in a similar place. Do you want to build a business that transcends the leader or the founders, right? Which is part of the reason why I never kind of put my name in the business at all. I always came up with other names, because I wanted to create something that, as the business grew, could go beyond just Patty. It would need to change over time. There are a lot of other entrepreneurs that stay so close and want to build that business and stay with it. And then it's harder when the market changes, the industry changes, or they have an opportunity to go do something else. It gets a little bit harder. So that's one of the questions I would say. Do you want to build a business that's going to sustain beyond you as the founder or the leader? The second is do some soul searching around how you perceive risk. That was just, I really think, a critical element. You and I, Rose, have talked a lot about risk and how do you see risk? We're deemed risk takers. I wouldn't necessarily ever consider myself a risk taker. I would say it's more of how I perceive risk. And I've thought a lot about this. And when I was in junior high, I used to run track, and we had to jump the hurdles. And man, I hit every hurdle all the time. And it wasn't until the coach said to me, Patty, you're hitting the hurdles because you're focused on the hurdle. Focus beyond the hurdle and you won't hit it. And boy, that totally changed it. And that's sort of my perspective when I was starting a business and I looked at risk. If I focused so much on the risk, that risk was gonna materialize, as opposed to if I could acknowledge it's there, but go beyond it and figure out how to go around it, whether I'm going over the hurdle or around the hurdle.
Patty, I love that analogy, go beyond the hurdle. This is a big playbook item, because at Aim High, we're all about fostering and curating the pipeline for women scientists to become entrepreneurs. By focusing beyond the hurdle, going around it, you actually get to get something done.
Boy, I faced that as well, being a mom of 3 and at different points, and juggling and all kinds of crazy stuff that you have to do. And as you look at the opportunity, I think it's really a matter, and I coach a lot of younger professional women, is to really think of your career as long-term. Because so many of us are focused, Rose, and I got to get up the ladder, get up the ladder, get up the ladder, as opposed to, personally, I went lateral and jumped 3 rungs, right? And so even when I started my own businesses, it was risky because I was leaving at a certain level. And some would say, well, that's kind of just going horizontal, Patty, as opposed to staying to progress in a linear manner. But it taught me skills that may be more competitive in the market for when I wanted to exceed and go to a different level. So I would say to folks, opportunity, if you look at your career as a long time, which many of us are blessed to have a long-term career, just see it as a different opportunity, an opportunity to bring something to market, but also for yourself to give more tools in your toolbox that'll make you just so much more of a well-rounded uh, leader or business person. So as you're looking at the opportunity, as you mentioned, do the customer discovery, stay curious. So I have a team of 850 people around the US, so it's a pretty large size organization. And we're a $4.5 billion operating unit for Microsoft. So a pretty large business when you look at it. And we have the privilege of working with the largest healthcare organizations, you know, from the Pfizers and J&Js to the Mass Generals to all the med tech companies. So really diverse set of amazing organizations that are focused on healthcare. And I have some tremendous women working in my organization. And one of the things when I came to Microsoft, my mission, if you will, my personal mission was to unleash the innovation of what I call my frontline team, the folks that were working closest to our customers. How do I unleash the innovation in everyone? Because I feel like those that are closest to the problem have some of the best ideas. One would be believe in yourself, right? Oh, don't lose the faith in yourself, because if you're seeing something, it probably means it's there. Second would be invest in yourself. It will have the greatest and biggest return. And by that, I mean, if you're in school and you're already investing in yourself, invest in yourself with your board of advisors, invest in yourself by reading and staying curious, because that'll have the greatest return for you. And I'd say, Rose, ignore the icks, the skeptics, the critics, the cynics, the people, because there's going to be a lot that will say, that's not a good idea. That's not going to work. If you believe in it, ignore them and just go for it. Those would be my 3 pieces of advice. Believe in yourself, invest in yourself, and ignore the icks.
Thank you so much, Patty. This has been so much fun.
I know it has. Great. I've really enjoyed it, Rose. Thank you.
I hope you enjoyed our interview today. Please subscribe to AIM High's Women Entrepreneur Role Model interview series.